All right, here we are. We're on lesson 19, converting measures. Our goal is I will be able to convert measures involving whole numbers and solve multi-step word problems. That's great. All right, let's get into it. Our first problem. So we're looking at 30 centimeters and we want to figure out how many meters is that. So the first question you want to ask yourself when you're converting is, which one is bigger? Okay? If you're looking at centimeters and if you're looking at meters, which one is bigger? So we know that meters are bigger, okay? So this is a little bit different from how we did it before, because before we were going from how many, maybe like 3 meters is how many centimeters, right? So we'd multiply by the conversion, by the converting factor, right? But for this one, we're going the opposite way, okay? So maybe you're thinking, how will we do that? Well, I'm here to tell you the answer. So we're actually going to use our fractions, okay? So I want you to look at this here, 30 centimeters. Can I go ahead and break it up? I'm going to say 30 here, and I'm going to multiply that by 1 centimeter. Can I do that? Hopefully you said yes. Yes, I can do that, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I'm going to rename it as a fraction of a meter. All right, so I take my second number, and I'm going to rename it, here we go, as a fraction of a meter. So here's the real question you're asking yourself. How many 1 centimeters make up a meter? Okay, so we look at 1 centimeter over how many centimeters are in 1 meter? 100. Okay, so if I look at 1 centimeter out of a meter, I'm looking at 1 out of 100. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply that by 30. Okay, so all we did was rename. We didn't really mess things up. We just said, okay, instead of saying 1 centimeter, we're going to look at it as a fraction. 1 out of however many is in a meter. And there are 100. So our equation is 30 times 1 over 100. Okay, now we just multiply. Now remember, this is our whole number. Okay, so we're just going to do 30 times 1, and we're going to get 30 over, here we go, 100. All right, so we can simplify here, right? We could just take off those zeros, right? And there we have it. 30 centimeters is 3/10 of a meter, and there's your answer. All right, hopefully that makes sense. If not, we're going to keep going, and we'll do a couple of other problems. If so, we're going to keep going and do some other problems. All right, here's our next problem. 9 inches is equal to how many or what of a foot? Now, please make sure that you guys review your conversions if you don't remember, okay? So like for the last one, you should have known that 100 centimeters makes 1 meter, okay? If that's a problem for you, please take some of your own time and review those. All right, so same thing here. How many inches are in a foot? So we're going to rename. So we're going to do 9 inches is equal to 9 times 1 inch, all right? So now I'm going to rename the 1 inch as a fraction. 1 out of how many inches are in a foot? 12. Okay, and we're still multiplying by 9. All right, now we can solve, right? 9 times 1 is 9, so I'm going to get 9/12. All right, you should be seeing a pattern now of how to do this. All right, now 9 over 12, there is a number that can go into both of them, so we can go ahead and, we can go ahead and simplify here. So 3 goes into 9 3 times, 3 goes into 12 4 times. So 9 inches is equal to 3/4 of a foot. All right, now why are we multiplying by a fraction? Okay, so it all stems from the fact that inches are smaller than feet. Okay, if it's smaller on this side and we're trying to get to something bigger, you multiply by a fraction. if something is bigger over here and smaller over here, you're just going to multiply by that whole number. All right? Hopefully that makes sense. And I know it is going to be confusing, but if you could just answer this question, if it's small going to big, you multiply by fraction. If it's big going to small, you multiply by the whole number. All right, here's our next problem. Mariva the koala will often sleep for 20 hours a day. For what fraction of a day does Mariva the koala sleep? All right, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to write it out just like it was before, right? So we're talking about 20 hours, right? Now the question is, what fraction of the day? All right, I should have just put an H. This is really hard. All right, 20 hours. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and name it as 20 times 1 hour, right? I'm just breaking it apart. There's nothing going on that's super weird here. All right, so underneath, I'm going to keep my 20, but I'm going to take my 1 hour and I'm going to write it as a fraction. All right, so you're going to ask yourself how many hours are in a day, and you should know there are 24. All right, so I'm going to multiply by 1 out of 24, right? 1 hour out of the day, 24. All right, then all I need to do is multiply across 20 times 1, and I get 20 over 24. All right, are we done yet? No, we're not done yet, okay? We have to simplify. All right, once you simplify, you will get 5/6, and there's your answer. So 20 hours is equal to 5/6 of 1 day. All right, let's do this one. Problem 4. This is our last one, and then the problem 5, you're going to solve it for yourself and answer on the quiz, okay? So inches and feet. There's nothing really different about this one, but a slight difference. But you guys will be able to figure it out. So once again, this is small, and this is big, right? So we're going to be multiplying by a fraction. All right, so I'm going to write my 15 here times, and I'm going to break it up, right? 1 inch. I'm sorry. Yeah, 1 inch. Whew. Okay, my mind went somewhere else there. 1 inch. All right, so I'm just breaking it apart. It's still 15 inches. I just put 15 on this side, multiplying it by 1. Anyway, so how many inches are in 1 foot? Think about a ruler. Hopefully you said 12. All right, so we're talking about 1 out of 12. All right, and I'm going to multiply by 15. Okay, you multiply across 15 times 1. It's going to give us 15. All right, over 12. Now, hopefully by now you've noticed this one is a little bit different, but we can figure it out. We need to simplify, but it's a little bit different because we're actually going to make a mixed number, right? Because 12 can go into 15 one time, so I'm going to go ahead and show that as my whole number, 1, and then I'm going to go ahead and show what's left over. 12, take away 15, I get 3 over 12, and I'm going to simplify here because 3 over 12 can turn into 1/4. Don't forget your 1 whole number. And our answer is 15 inches is equal to, there we go, 1 1/4. Now, you probably could have noticed that this was going to be a mixed number even before we did everything, because obviously 15 inches is more than 12 inches, right? So we knew it was going to be a little bit bigger. All right, so here's problem 5. 24 ounces is equal to how many pounds? Now, I know that this one is a little bit harder just because you have to figure out how many ounces are in 1 pound. I'm not going to tell you because I want to make sure you guys know it. If not, this is probably a good time to review it. All right, so answer this question, and then you can go ahead and take the quiz. You'll find